Ladies and gentlemen, you are now tuning in to the undefeated Moustache John. Welcome back, my friends. Moustache John here. The U.S. men's national team had two matches this past week. One against Mexico, we had a humiliating 3-0 defeat. The other, a draw against Uruguay. What did we learn from those two matches? Were there any standout players? Is there anybody that we should definitely not invite to the next camp? Is Berhalter's job safe? Where do we go from here? I'm going to tackle all those issues in today's video. Let's dive right in. All right, let's talk about the Uruguay match first. We did what we needed to do there. We steadied the ship. We stopped the bleeding. After that loss from Mexico, everybody was freaking out. Everybody was saying, Berhalter out. He should not be coaching the team. I think it was an overreaction. All right, so this match, they did exactly what they needed to do. They came out, they played a little bit more conservatively. They got a decent result. They didn't get embarrassed. Everybody's calmed down a little bit. This match against Uruguay was, in the true sense of the word, a friendly. Neither team was overly aggressive. It didn't feel like either team was really going for a win. Both teams were letting each other just passively go through the midfield, work it around a little bit, and get crosses in. This was, just like I predicted in the preview, a pretty boring match to watch. Some takeaways from that match: Dest looked a little bit more secure defensively. He was really exposed against Mexico. For him to come in against Uruguay, who is honestly a slightly better team, even though they had their B team out, and look a little bit more secure there defensively, that's a good win for us. In the midfield, Pamukal got his debut. He only played about 5 or 6 minutes, but even in that 5 or 6 minutes, I think you could see a little taste of what he has to offer. He's a more creative player. He's a more dynamic player on the ball, not in terms of flashy dribbling, but he reminds me a little bit, not on the same level, but a little bit in the style of an Iniesta in the way that he controls the ball with his just the space and body. It's not a lot of flicks and tricks. It's really just about clever positioning and spatial awareness. So I like the way he plays. I really hope that he gets more playing time. Speaking of young players, Sargent got the start up top. I think we realized in the Mexico match, Zardes is just not going to be our striker. He's really not strong enough to play with his back to goal and hold off the defenders and let players run off of him, and he's not quite fast enough to run in behind and break on the counterattacks. And he's not really tall enough to be a center forward target man. Overall, Zardes is very good, but he's not great, and he's not going to be able to perform at an international level beyond those smaller CONCACAF teams. So against better sides like Mexico, why not put in somebody younger like a Josh Sargent and give him that experience? So we need to start giving those players those times. I would even start right now bringing up someone like a Sebastian Soto. He played for the U20s for their World Cup, had a great performance throughout the tournament. I would love to see someone like him get some time. Even somebody like Bobby Wood. Everybody forgets about Bobby Wood. He's not performing well for his club right now, but who knows? He may, turn things around, get some goals in the back of the net. We give him another shot, and then boom, we've got 3 forwards with Sargent, Soto, and Bobby Wood who are all under 25. I understand he's Berhalter's guy. I get that. Berhalter trusts him. At some point, you just got to realize that Zardes is not good enough to play at this level. Overall, I don't think we learned a lot from the Uruguay match. I don't think there's a lot of takeaways there. Like I said, it was a boring match. It was a slow match. The real takeaways come from the Mexico match. A lot of people were calling for Berhalter out. To be honest, I get that reaction right off the bat. It's against Mexico. It's our arch rivals. We lose 3-0. We looked like we were outplayed the whole match. We were playing in a style that didn't seem to fit. It was embarrassing. Let's just be honest. It was an embarrassing loss for the U.S. But if you just give it some time, you give it some space, and you think about it a little bit, get some perspective. We were a year out from being at the hex stage of World Cup qualifiers. We're playing the best team in CONCACAF in a friendly match, and this is really the first time that we are going fully with the new guard, the young players. Why not play with a style that's aggressive, possession-based, and a style of play that really looks to take advantage of numbers, overload certain areas of the pitch, and do short, quick passes? Why not do that for 90 minutes and see how well we perform with that style of play against the best team in CONCACAF for 90 minutes? just as a test run and see what happens. What happened was we lost 3-0. That sucked. That was embarrassing. But I think what we need to look for is, what do we do in the upcoming matches? How do we respond to that loss against Mexico? What do we learn from that? How do we adapt? If Berhalter comes out and consistently plays with that style of play, passing out of the back with Zach Steffen having the ball at his feet for 70% of the match, if they come out and consistently play with that and consistently get the results that they did against Mexico, you give him 2 more matches and he's got to go. But if he does what I think he may be doing, which is truly just testing the limits of this squad, let's see how he adapts. Let's see what he does in these next few matches, because I think what he'll do is tone down that style of play, now knowing the limitations. So what I hope happens here is that US responds with some grit, some intensity, and really kind of goes back to that mentality of scoring goals off of free kicks and set pieces. We're just not good enough to play like Barcelona and Man City. I think the mentality is starting to get there, but the way that Americans understand the game is just different than other countries. So we can't just automatically switch gears into this world style of football that we're seeing right now with some of these top clubs. We don't have the talent, we don't have that skill level. So we need to just make sure that we are playing a style of football that matches our skill level. What I think is going to happen is Berhalter will figure that out during these Nation League matches, so that a year from now when we get to those Hex qualifying matches, we'll know what our starting lineup is, we'll have a good idea of our top 18, our top 23, and those guys will be there consistently throughout qualifying. We got caught up in the last qualifying campaign, going with this back and forth, young guys, old guys, nobody knew who was going to be starting. It was bad. So we need to figure out who our top 18 and 23 is going to be early, figure out what style of play is going to match our skill level, and just stay with that. So I think consistency right now is really what we need. We don't need to be firing Berhalter and bringing in somebody brand new and starting fresh. This is who we signed. This is who we gave the job to. Let's let him work it out. We got to give him some time to see how he reacts to this Mexico match. I think overall, our takeaways are that Zardes should not be our striker. We can't play that possession-based, play out of the back style of football against a side as good as Mexico. We definitely need to be more secure defensively. I think Dest got exposed against Mexico, recovered, played a lot better against Uruguay, so I think he's kind of finding his way there, particularly now that US has him playing on the left side instead of the right side. Center backs wise, I think we still have Miazga and Brooks to see. They have something to say in terms of who the starters are. Long is looking pretty good. Zimmerman has some work to do. I think he's one of the best passers on the team in terms of our center backs, but he has some work to do defensively, so we'll see. So I think we are moving in a positive direction in the sense that we have a young crew of players, a young core of players that is getting time, that is getting experience, that is gelling together so that we are figuring out our style of play. And I think we're going to start to see some better results now that we're going to be playing some more CONCACAF teams. Hopefully, it's going to be good news. I know that the results from the last 2 matches weren't great, an embarrassing loss and a boring draw, but I think that with the young talent that we have and the opportunities that they're going to get coming up, playing for their clubs, a lot of them in Europe, I think we're going to see some good things. So stay tuned. I'll be doing some videos for their upcoming matches. I'll try to do some more live streams. I'm hearing that people are enjoying that. So let me know what you think down in the comments. What is your opinion on the style of play that US has been going with over these last 2 matches? Do you think Berhalter should keep his job? Who do you think is going to be the next breakout player for the US behind Pulisic? Let me know what you think. As always, thanks for the support, folks. I'll see you next time.